Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning, and thank you so much to Juan, our fearless founder, for kind of articulating the overall vision of what brought us here today, all the way from the early foundings of IPFS to FEM to now Interplanetary Consensus, or IPC. So really glad to be here with you today. And today's agenda for the rest of the day is jam-packed, so do stay back. There are amazing sessions coming out throughout the day. I'll be touching on them later. So what exactly are we building at IPC? As you can see, and as Juan had mentioned, our time frame, our scale, and our ambition is extremely huge because we see that there's so much missing, and not only in terms of tech, but just in terms of the ambitions of founders and builders like the ones I see here today, in terms of what is exactly possible with Web3. So that's what we aim to address. IPC is a true scalability tech, framework, stack, and platform enabler, which will unlock planetary level performance for Web3, as Juan mentioned, while delivering, hopefully, more and more frictionless developer experiences for all of you to power the next generation of apps that actually go beyond what is possible in Web2 and centralized systems. Just look at this for a moment, right? It's truly embarrassing about the scales and timeframes and performance benchmarks that we think about when we think about a successful Web3 ecosystem. We are not able to handle the incoming deluge, which will overflow all these L2s in the coming months and years ahead. We're just not able as an industry to match the Web2 loads, transactions, volumes, compute requirements, or even incoming users. And more importantly, Web3 is an incredibly alien landscape to most of the millions of Web2 developers who want to taste and try Web3 development for the first time. So these are the things that we need to really address, and we're hoping to do that with Interplanetary Consensus. Now, how can the future of computing, as we envision, be built on blockchains? Through IPC. And how will we do this? The first step is to actually enable recursive, scalable blockchains. As Juan had mentioned, the goal is not only to have horizontal scalability, which is the current vogue in the industry, but to have both horizontal and vertical scalability, which will allow truly massive scaling, and then allow seamless communication of data and value across these parallel and topographically different subnets and blockchains, right? More importantly, in order for a specific use case to be successfully delivered onto Web3, you're not able to do something as a one-size-fits-all VM. So we took the early decision to allow you to have a deeply customizable VM, module, and of course, client, which allows you to then expand what is possible by allowing Web2 devs to have a comfortable onboarding experience. And we will allow you to have WebAssembly or WASM compatible code running on your blockchain. More importantly, we want you as a developer to think about how you can fine-tune and hyper-tune your specific network to your specific needs, because one size does not fit all. So think about, as a development team, how you would look at custom tuning your own gas schedules, your own native tokens, your own custom consensus algos, your own block times. And finally, this is only possible by being a truly modular framework, right? So we thought deep and hard about how to build this and how to empower developers by building on top of the Filecoin virtual machine. So as Juan had mentioned, being on FEM allows you to enable millions of more devs to onboard easily. Of course, it's fully EVM compatible with Solidity tooling, but more importantly, it allows you to then target the Filecoin ecosystem and the Filecoin network. All in all, this will enable you to create lightweight, modular, and flexible blockchains. And most importantly, across the topography of subnets that you envision, you'll have fluid movement of data, calls, and tokens. In terms of what we envision different builders to be able to build out, think of how you would build out on Kubernetes in the Web2 world, and how you would then look at partitioning and specializing subnets for specific jobs. So that's what we aim to do with the design of IPC subnets. After me, Raul, Marco, and Alfonso will go deeper and deeper into the technical details of how specifically we're enabling this and how, as a development team, you can start thinking about your stack. But most importantly, as I had mentioned, horizontal and vertical scalability. And in the future, extremely exciting, is just a teaser, you'll have dynamic scalability of your subnets. The most important thing we want to highlight is that one kind of subnet is not equivalent to the other and does not need to be. You can have different topological structures and different subnets, which can organize your activity by geography, by privacy requirements, by latency requirements, by being closer to the metal, closer to the data. Now, in terms of the runtime itself, this is, of course, something where our team is extremely, extremely passionate about building upon layer of modularity. We'll go deeper into this in the coming talks. But the end case is that we want you to be able to create your own custom version of your own runtime, with your own custom version of the entire stack, and have your own thinking changing to code as data, and your own specific client and stack upgrades. How does IPC actually work on a programmatic level? Of course, as an IPC chain, you'll be able to spawn new and newer subnets, but each of them can have separate consensus algos. So that means that you're able to fine-tune specific subnets for specific requirements, because what's the point of having one consensus algorithm which then bottlenecks, let's say, high-performance computing, or as Juan had mentioned, MMO gaming tick times? It doesn't make sense. We want to unshackle developers so that they can actually have something scalable, but modular and customizable, which then allows child chains to then rest and develop on top of their parent chains. So you can actually think about IPC as either allowing you to shard your own single app or to host a different set of apps. And that's kind of how we then envision you to be able to bring this to the mainnet and to the mass market, making it a truly scalable protocol, allowing you to split the workload to increase your throughput, allowing you to have regional subchains if necessary, custom and private subchains based on your use cases, and of course, partitioned based on the data security and privacy. I'm very, very excited to share some of the early adopters who are starting to experiment and build with IPC. I'm really glad that some of them are going to be here today. Later, you have to listen to them. They're going to give exciting talks. I'll go through some of them. So Lilypad is building their own cutting-edge distributed compute platform to run AI and ML workloads on-chain. So this is extremely exciting because we're actually going to be having a talk by Allison, the CEO, and we're going to have a workshop by Lilypad, so you must attend it. What they're planning to do is they're creating a dedicated subnet that will underpin their own computational network with extremely high blockchain speed and, of course, fast finality. Most importantly, they're able to customize their network for their own token for gas usage so that their own users can seamlessly use their network and be able to be rewarded as well. Fluence is building their own decentralized serverless computing platform and marketplace for building and running peer-to-peer apps and protocols. They're also speaking here today, so be sure to check them out. L2 subnets that they'll create will allow them to have direct access to the Filecoin mainnet, enabling extremely big data compute jobs on-chain with deep customizability. And they're a very exciting team because they're able to then experiment with new primitives that they're deploying on their own custom chain. So be sure to check them out. Spark on Station is another very exciting use case being enabled on-chain with IPC. They have a talk later today, so be sure to check them out. Of course, what they're trying to do to start with is to run Spark, which is a retrieval sampling protocol for Filecoin network users, so that they can then contribute to the network and then get rewarded. So what does that require? That requires extremely high throughput and extremely short finality time so that they can onboard millions of users. And they're able to do that by testing on what I'm going to be mentioning more about later, Mycelium, which is our IPC-based subnet, which you can start building on today. More builders speaking today. You definitely should check out their lightning talks. Building Decentralized On-Chain Games by OP Games. Tableland sharing their IPC development story for decentralized databases. And of course, MoveSpace talking about labeling for AI applications on-chain. So what's next for devs? As I had mentioned, Mycelium is a very, very good and convenient test environment and a test bed for all of you to start experimenting with. It is a L2, it's a general purpose L2. It's allowing you to use it as a reference network to start testing out your own subnet environments and topologies and structures, and to work hand in hand with our team and give us feedback so that you can start building your entire end-to-end subnets and IPC-based platforms. So super excited to have you guys hacking with us today. By the way, we do have dedicated workshops with our team later today. Be sure to attend those. And that's it. You must come and build with us. We're so excited to enable the future of Web3 scalability with you all. Thank you so much.